Hey everyone. Tonight we're traveling back over 800 years to witness one of humanity's most magnificent achievements, the construction of Angkor Wat in the 12th century Cambodia. I know ancient temple construction might not sound like typical bedtime material, but there's something deeply meditative about experiencing the rhythmic daily routines of master builders, stone carvers, and the thousands of workers who devoted their lives to creating this architectural marvel. If you're enjoying these deep journeys into history's greatest projects, I'd really appreciate a like or subscribe. I'm always curious where you're all listening from around the world, so drop a comment with your location and what time it is there. It amazes me how people fall asleep to these ancient stories from every corner of the globe. All right? Settle into that perfect, comfortable position, take a nice, slow breath, and feel your body sink completely into whatever you're lying on. We're heading back to the year 1125, to the height of the Khmer Empire, where King Suryavarman VII has commissioned the greatest temple complex ever built. Trust me, you're going to experience the wonder of Angkor Wat in a completely different way by the time we're done. Dawn of the Stone Lotus. Congratulations, you've just awakened in a bamboo house on stilts near the construction site of Angkor Wat in the year 1125. It's early morning, perhaps an hour before sunrise, and you're lying on a woven mat covered with a light cotton blanket. The air is warm and humid, carrying the distinctive scents of the Cambodian jungle, flowering trees, rich earth after the night's rain, and the faint smell of incense from the temporary shrines erected around the construction site. Your name is Jayavarman, and you are a master stone carver in service to the god king Suryavarman VII. You're not just any craftsman, but one of the artistic elite responsible for creating the intricate bas reliefs and decorative elements that will make this temple complex the most beautiful religious monument ever constructed. Your skills in carving the stories of the Ramayana and Mahabharata into stone are renowned throughout the Khmer Empire. The house around you is elevated on wooden posts to protect against flooding during the monsoon season and to allow cooling air to circulate underneath. Woven bamboo walls provide privacy while allowing the gentle morning breeze to flow through. A small shrine in one corner holds offerings to Vishnu and the Hindu deities who bless your work, with fresh flowers and burning incense creating a peaceful atmosphere for morning prayers. Your breathing is still slow from sleep. Take a moment now to breathe more deeply, feeling the humid morning air fill your lungs. In through your nose, slowly and completely, then out through your mouth with a gentle sigh. The air carries scents that would be familiar to any Khmer of this era. The sweetness of frangipani blossoms, the earthy richness of the Mekong River system, and the particular smell of wet laterite stone that dominates the construction site. Through your window opening, you can see the first hints of Angkor Wat taking shape against the slowly lightening sky. Even after 3 years of construction, the site never fails to fill you with awe. The central tower already rises over 100 feet into the air, its distinctive lotus bud shape clearly visible in silhouette. Around it, the complex network of galleries, courtyards, and subsidiary towers creates a mandala of stone that mirrors the cosmic order of Mount Meru, the center of the Hindu universe. You sit up slowly, feeling the familiar comfort of your sleeping mat and the gentle support of the raised bamboo floor beneath. Your body is lean and strong from years of precise physical work, your hands marked by countless hours of holding chisel and hammer, but also capable of the most delicate artistic touch required for detailed stone carving. Standing now, you move to the water jar in the corner for your morning ablutions. The water is fresh, collected from the temple's elaborate hydraulic system that channels clean water from the Siem Reap River through an ingenious network of canals and reservoirs. This water system is itself a marvel of engineering, designed not just to supply the construction site but to create the moats and waterways that will make Angkor Wat appear to float on a sacred lake. This is your world, Jayavarman, a civilization at the absolute height of its architectural and artistic powers, undertaking a construction project so ambitious that it will take over 30 years to complete. You are one of the privileged artisans whose skills and devotion helped transform King Suryavarman's vision of the ultimate temple mountain into eternal stone reality. Let yourself settle into this ancient morning, feeling your feet firmly planted on the bamboo floor, your breathing steady and calm as you prepare for another day of contributing to humanity's greatest architectural achievement. The sun god Surya is beginning his eternal journey across the sky, and you have sacred work to perform in service to both your divine king and the Hindu deities who will dwell in this magnificent temple. Your reflection in the polished bronze mirror shows a man of perhaps 30 years, with the focused eyes and steady hands that mark you as one of Cambodia's master craftsmen. Your hair is arranged in the traditional top knot secured with a gold pin, a mark of your elevated status among the temple artisans. Your skin is darkened by years of working in the tropical sun, but your face shows the intelligence and aesthetic sensitivity required for the highest levels of religious art. Breathe deeply now and center yourself in this remarkable moment in history. You're not just witnessing the construction of Angkor Wat, you're actively creating it, one carved figure at a time, contributing your artistic vision to what will become the largest religious monument ever built. The humid morning air fills your lungs, the sound of the jungle awakening surrounds you, and ahead lies another day of transforming divine inspiration into eternal stone. Morning rituals in the sacred city. As the first light of dawn begins to filter through the forest canopy, the construction site of Angkor Wat comes alive with the sounds of thousands of people beginning their daily routines. From your elevated house, you can hear the gentle splash of workers bathing in the canals, the soft conversations of families preparing morning meals, and the distinctive sound of bronze gongs from the temporary temples where priests conduct the dawn ceremonies that bless each day's work. You begin your own morning rituals with the careful attention to spiritual preparation that marks all Hindu craftsmen. At your personal shrine, you light fresh incense and place new offerings. A handful of jasmine flowers picked yesterday evening, a few grains of rice, a small portion of palm sugar. These gifts to Vishnu and the divine craftsman Vishvakarma ensure that your hands will be guided by divine inspiration throughout the day's work. Your breathing naturally synchronizes with these familiar morning movements, in and out, steady and controlled, as your body prepares for another day of the precise physical and spiritual discipline required for religious art. The rhythm of morning prayer becomes almost meditative, each gesture deliberate and meaningful, connecting your individual efforts to the cosmic purpose of the great temple. From a wooden chest inlaid with mother of pearl, you select your working clothes for the day. A simple cotton sarong in the traditional check pattern, dyed with indigo and turmeric, to create the distinctive blue and gold colors favored by Khmer artisans. Over this goes a lightweight cotton shirt that will protect your arms from stone dust while allowing freedom of movement for detailed carving work. Around your waist, you tie the leather tool belt that contains the instruments of your sacred craft, chisels of various sizes, made from the finest steel available in the Khmer Empire, small hammers with wooden handles wrapped in leather for better grip, measuring tools that ensure perfect proportions in your carved figures. Each tool has been blessed by priests and consecrated for the sacred work of temple decoration. The most precious item in your tool collection is a set of detailed chisels inherited from your master craftsman father, their steel worn smooth by decades of creating religious art. These tools carry the spiritual essence of all the temples they've helped build, and using them connects you to a lineage of artistic devotion that stretches back generations. Moving to your work area within the house, you review the drawings and templates that guide your current project, a series of Apsara celestial dancers that will decorate the inner gallery walls. Each figure must be carved according to strict iconographic requirements that ensure their spiritual authenticity. The proportions of their bodies, the positioning of their hands in sacred mudras, the details of their jewelry and clothing, all must conform to religious specifications while also achieving the artistic beauty that makes Angkor Wat unique among the world's temples. Your morning meal is simple but nutritious, designed to provide sustained energy for the demanding physical work ahead. Rice cooked in coconut milk forms the base, supplemented with dried fish from the Tonle Sap Lake, vegetables grown in the temple's agricultural areas, and tropical fruits that provide essential vitamins for workers laboring in the intense heat and humidity. As you eat, you study the palm leaf manuscripts that contain the sacred texts and artistic guidelines for temple decoration. These ancient Sanskrit and Khmer documents describe not just how figures should be carved, but why each element matters spiritually. An Apsara's crown isn't just decorative, its specific design indicates her rank in the celestial hierarchy. The flowers she holds aren't randomly chosen. Each species has particular religious significance in Hindu cosmology. The meal concludes with betel nut and lime, a stimulant combination that sharpens mental focus and provides the alertness needed for precision work. The slight buzz it creates helps maintain concentration during the long hours of detailed carving that lie ahead. Through your window, you can see other craftsmen beginning their own morning preparations. Master architects review building plans drawn on specially prepared palm leaves. Stone cutters inspect the quality of sandstone blocks that arrived yesterday from the quarries. Hydraulic engineers check the water levels in the complex canal system that keeps the construction site supplied with fresh water and serves the double purpose of testing the moats and waterways that will eventually surround the completed temple. Your breathing settles into the focused rhythm of mental preparation as you review the day's planned work. The morning air carries the sounds of Angkor Wat awakening, the scrape of chisels against stone that has already begun in some work areas, the rhythmic pounding of hammers shaping blocks to precise specifications, the calls of overseers coordinating the activities of different craft specialties. Standing to begin your walk to the carving pavilion, you feel the pleasant anticipation that comes from meaningful work. You're not just earning your living as a craftsman. You're participating in the creation of something that will connect earth to heaven, providing a dwelling place for the god Vishnu and serving as the spiritual center of the Khmer Empire. The early morning light reveals Angkor Wat, rising majestically from its artificial island, surrounded by the broad moat that reflects its towers and galleries like a mirror. This architectural marvel represents the culmination of centuries of Khmer temple building expertise, incorporating innovations in engineering, hydraulics, and artistic decoration that surpass anything previously attempted in Southeast Asia. Everything about the construction demonstrates the Khmer Empire's prosperity and sophistication. The massive scale of the project, requiring over 300,000 workers and craftsmen, shows the kingdom's ability to organize and sustain complex undertakings. The perfection of every architectural detail reveals artistic and technical standards that rival anything being built in contemporary Europe or China. The elaborate water management systems display engineering knowledge that won't be matched in this region for centuries. Your role in this magnificent project fills you with profound satisfaction. As a master carver, you're helping to create art that will tell the sacred stories of Hinduism for generations of pilgrims and worshippers. The apsaras you carve will dance eternally in stone, their divine beauty inspiring devotion and connecting viewers to the celestial realms. The narrative reliefs you help create will make the great Hindu epics accessible to people who cannot read, transforming religious education into visual wonder. The humid morning air energizes rather than oppresses, your body long adapted to the tropical climate through generations of Khmer ancestry. Your breathing remains steady and controlled as you mentally prepare for the demanding work ahead, each inhalation bringing the complex sense of the jungle and construction site, each exhalation releasing any remaining traces of morning drowsiness. This is your world, the heart of the Khmer Empire at its absolute zenith, where King Surya Varman VII's vision of creating the ultimate temple mountain is becoming reality through the dedicated labor of tens of thousands of skilled workers and devoted craftsmen. You are part of something larger than individual existence, contributing your artistic gifts to a project that will endure for nearly 1,000 years as testimony to human creativity, spiritual devotion, and the power of civilization to create beauty on an unprecedented scale. The Stone Carver's Sacred Workshop. Your walk to the carving pavilion takes you through the organized complexity of the Angkor Wat construction site, a temporary city that houses and feeds the enormous workforce required for this unprecedented project. The pathways are made of crushed laterite stone, providing firm footing even during monsoon rains, while wooden bridges span the numerous canals that bring both fresh water and construction materials to different work areas. The scale of the operation becomes apparent as you move through the site. Thousands of workers are already active despite the early hour. Teams of stonecutters work at temporary quarries, extracting the fine-grained sandstone that forms the temple's decorative elements. Water buffalo pull massive sledges loaded with carved blocks, moving them along specially constructed stone pathways to their designated positions. Engineers tend the complex system of pulleys, ramps, and counterweights that lift multi-ton stones to the upper levels of the temple structure. Your breathing naturally matches your walking pace as you navigate the familiar routes, in and out, steady and measured, your body finding its rhythm, while your mind begins focusing on the detailed artistic work ahead. The morning air carries the sounds of organized human activity on an almost incomprehensible scale. Thousands of voices speaking Khmer, Mon, and various regional dialects, the constant percussion of tools against stone, the creaking of wooden machinery moving massive weights. The diversity of workers reflects the Khmer Empire's extensive reach and sophisticated organization. Here are ethnic Khmer from the heartland around Angkor, their traditional sampots and top knots identifying them as the kingdom's core population. Mon craftsmen from the west bring specialized knowledge of stucco work and bronze casting. Vietnamese laborers from the east contribute their expertise in hydraulic engineering. Cham stonemasons from the coastal regions add their understanding of maritime trading connections that bring exotic materials from across Southeast Asia. Children run between the work areas, helping with simple tasks while learning the skills they'll eventually practice as adult artisans. Khmer society values education highly, and the construction site serves as a vast training ground where traditional knowledge passes from master craftsmen to apprentices who will carry on the techniques for generations. The carving pavilion where you work stands near the temple's eastern entrance, Tak Shastin Surintimage, positioned to catch the best light for detailed artistic work, while remaining close enough to the main structure for easy transportation of completed pieces. The pavilion is a masterpiece of traditional Khmer architecture in its own right. Raised on stone pillars with a peaked roof of ceramic tiles, its walls open to provide maximum natural lighting while protecting workers and artwork from monsoon rains. Master Indra Varman, your supervisor and one of the Empire's most renowned sculptors, greets you at the pavilion entrance. He's a man of perhaps 50 years, his hair now gray, but his hands still steady and sure, his understanding of religious iconography deeper than that of many priests. Under his guidance, This workshop produces some of Angkor Wat's finest artistic elements, pieces that will be studied and admired by visitors for centuries. Jayavarman, he says, "Today we begin the Apsara series for the second gallery's eastern wall. The king himself will inspect this section when he visits next month, so every detail must achieve perfection." The mention of royal inspection adds weight to work that is already treated with religious reverence. King Suryavarman VII takes personal interest in the temple's artistic program, understanding that Angkor Wat will serve not only as his tomb and memorial, but as a statement of Khmer civilization's cultural achievements. Every carved figure, every decorative element, reflects on the kingdom's artistic sophistication and spiritual devotion. Your workstation has been prepared with everything needed for the day's carving. A partially shaped block of fine sandstone, selected for its even grain and freedom from flaws that might crack during carving. The stone comes from quarries specifically open for Angkor Wat construction, chosen because their sandstone weathers to a beautiful golden color while maintaining structural integrity over centuries. The preliminary sketch has already been transferred to the stone surface using the traditional pouncing technique. Small holes punched through paper templates allow charcoal dust to mark the stone with precise outlines. Your task is to transform these flat drawings into three-dimensional sculptures that seem to breathe with divine life. Around your work area, other master carvers pursue their own specialties. Here's Suryavarman the Younger, whose talent for architectural decoration has made him responsible for the intricate floral motifs that cover column capitals and doorway surrounds. There's Rajendra Varman, the narrative specialist who carves the epic battle scenes that tell stories from the Ramayana and Mahabharata. Each craftsman contributes expertise in specific aspects of religious art, their combined skills creating the visual program that makes Angkor Wat unique among the world's temples. You begin your workday with the ritual blessing of tools and materials, offering incense and prayers to ensure divine guidance in the artistic process. This isn't merely ceremony, but practical spirituality. Religious art must be created in the proper state of consciousness to carry authentic spiritual power. The carved apsaras aren't just decorations, but sacred images that will mediate between human worshippers and celestial realms. Your breathing settles into the meditative rhythm that accompanies precision work as you take up your first chisel. Each tool feels perfectly balanced in your hands, the weight and shape familiar from thousands of hours of use. The steel is the finest available in 12th century Cambodia, imported from specialized smiths who forged chisels specifically for temple carving. The first cuts are always the most critical, establishing the basic proportions and major forms from which all subsequent detail will develop. Working with confident strokes that show years of experience, Pirus Hirspin Shao, you begin to release the Apsara figure from her stone matrix, revealing the celestial dancer who has been waiting within the sandstone block. The morning progresses with the satisfying rhythm of skilled craftsmanship applied to meaningful work. Each chisel stroke removes exactly the right amount of stone, guided by years of training in the proper techniques of religious sculpture. Your movements are economical and precise, conserving energy for the long day ahead while maintaining the consistency of technique that will ensure the finished figure meets the highest artistic standards. As you work, your breathing naturally coordinates with the rhythm of carving. Inspiration during the upward stroke that positions the chisel, controlled exhalation during the downward stroke that removes stone. This breathing pattern helps maintain steady concentration while providing the oxygen needed for sustained physical effort. Other craftsmen work around you with similar focused intensity, their various tools creating a complex percussion that becomes the background music of Angkor Wat's construction. The sound of chisels against stone varies with the type of work being done. Sharp tapping for detail work, heavier strikes for roughing out basic forms, the distinctive scraping sound of smoothing tools, preparing surfaces for final finishing. The diversity of artistic styles represented in the workshop reflects the cosmopolitan nature of Khmer civilization. While all the work adheres to Hindu iconographic requirements, individual craftsmen bring influences from their regional backgrounds and training traditions. This creative synthesis produces art that is distinctively Khmer while incorporating the best aesthetic elements from across Southeast Asia. By mid-morning, your Apsara figure has begun to emerge from the stone, her basic proportions established and her graceful pose clearly visible. The work requires not just technical skill, but deep understanding of Hindu religious concepts. Each gesture and ornament carries specific spiritual meaning that must be accurately represented to ensure the figure's effectiveness as a sacred image. Your tools move with increasing confidence as the familiar rhythms of carving work take hold. The sandstone responds beautifully to skilled treatment, its fine grain allowing the most delicate details while maintaining structural strength. This is the stone that will allow Angkor Wat to survive nearly 1,000 years, its carved details as sharp today as when they were completed in the 12th century. Midday devotions and royal inspections. As the sun reaches its zenith above the Angkor Wat construction site, the intensity of work gradually diminishes to accommodate the tropical heat that makes heavy physical labor dangerous during the hottest hours. The carved pavilions and galleries that will eventually provide shade are still under construction, so temporary shelters of woven palm fronds create cool spaces where workers can rest and refresh themselves. You set aside your chisels with the careful attention that fine tools require, wrapping each in soft cloth to protect the cutting edges from damage. The morning's work has progressed well. Your Apsara figure now shows her basic form clearly, with the characteristic triple bend pose that gives celestial dancers their distinctive grace. Her left hand will hold a lotus flower, symbol of purity and divine beauty, while her right hand forms the Abhaya Mudra, the gesture of blessing that reassures devotees of divine protection. The transition from active carving to rest period allows your breathing to shift from the focused rhythm of precision work to the slower, deeper pattern of relaxation. Your muscles, held in careful control for hours of detailed carving, gradually release their tension as you move to the communal rest area where food and drink await the workshop artisans. The meal reflects both the practical needs of workers in tropical conditions and the sophisticated cuisine of Khmer civilization. Rice forms the foundation, but it's accompanied by curry dishes that use the complex spice blends for which Cambodia is famous throughout Southeast Asia. Fish from the Tonle Sap Lake provides protein, while vegetables grown in the temple's agricultural areas ensure balanced nutrition. Palm sugar sweets provide quick energy for the afternoon's work, and coconut water offers natural hydration more effective than plain water in the intense heat. As you eat, conversation flows around topics familiar to craftsmen working on history's greatest construction project. The quality of this morning's stone delivery from the quarries, technical challenges in lifting carved pieces to the upper galleries, innovations in tool design that might improve carving efficiency. The artistic program for sections still in the planning stages. Master Indravarman joins the group, bringing news that adds excitement to the afternoon's prospects. King Suryavarman will visit the site today, he announces. He wishes to inspect the progress on the central tower's completion and examine some of our finished Apsara carvings. Royal visits transform the construction site's normal rhythms. While King Suryavarman takes genuine interest in architectural and artistic details, his presence also serves important political functions. The enormous cost of Angkor Wat construction requires public support that depends partly on visible royal involvement in the project. When people see their God King personally inspecting the work, They understand that their taxes and labor contribute to something worthy of ultimate devotion. The afternoon's activities will be reorganized around the royal inspection. The finest completed carvings will be displayed, where the king can examine them closely. Master craftsmen will be available to explain technical processes and artistic choices. The visit provides an opportunity for the kingdom's most skilled artisans to receive direct recognition from the divine ruler, whose vision drives the entire project. You return to your workstation with the particular focus that comes from knowing your craftsmanship will soon be examined by the most discerning patron in the Khmer Empire. The afternoon light filtered through palm frond screens provides excellent illumination for detail work without the harsh glare that can cause eye strain during long carving sessions. Your Apsara figure requires attention to the intricate jewelry and clothing that mark her status as a celestial being. The crown alone involves dozens of individual elements: lotus petals, geometric patterns, dangling ornaments that seem to move with supernatural grace. Each element must be carved with precision measured in fractions of inches, yet the overall effect must appear effortless and natural. The work demands not just technical skill, but artistic sensitivity to the spiritual concepts underlying Hindu religious art. Apsaras aren't simply beautiful women, but celestial beings whose divine nature must be suggested through every aspect of their representation. Their clothing seems to float around their bodies, defying earthly gravity. Their jewelry appears weightless despite its elaborate detail. Their facial expressions combine earthly beauty with transcendent wisdom. Your breathing finds its focused rhythm as the detailed work progresses. The afternoon heat makes concentration more challenging, but the knowledge that King Suryavarman may personally examine this piece provides additional motivation for achieving the highest possible standards. Each chisel stroke must justify the trust placed in master craftsmen by their divine ruler. Around you, the workshop hums with increased activity as other artisans also prepare for the royal inspection. Completed pieces are carefully cleaned and positioned for optimal viewing. Work areas are organized to demonstrate various stages of the carving process. Apprentices practice their explanations of traditional techniques, preparing for possible questions from royal advisors. The sound of approaching procession gradually becomes audible. The measured footsteps of guards, the gentle sound of court musicians, the distinctive rhythm that marks important ceremonial movements. King Suryavarman VII travels with appropriate dignity, his progress through the construction site both inspiring workers and assessing the enormous project that represents his reign's greatest achievement. Your tools continue their precise work, even as part of your attention monitors the royal approach. The discipline of master craftsmanship allows you to maintain focus on immediate tasks while remaining aware of the broader context. The Apsara's jewelry takes shape under your chisels, each bracelet and necklace carved with the perfection required for divine adornment. When the royal party reaches your pavilion, the combination of ceremony and genuine technical interest creates a unique atmosphere. King Suryavarman VII is both a divine ruler deserving ultimate reverence and a knowledgeable patron deeply engaged with architectural and artistic details. His questions about carving techniques and iconographic choices demonstrate expertise gained through years of involvement with temple construction projects throughout his kingdom. Master Indravarman presents your work with the formal courtesy required by court protocol, but also with obvious pride in his workshop's achievements. Your Divine Majesty, this Apsara exemplifies the artistic standards we maintain throughout the temple decoration. Notice how the sculptor has captured the celestial grace, that distinguishes divine beings from earthly representations. The king examines your carving with the careful attention of someone who understands both artistic technique and religious significance. His approval carries weight beyond personal satisfaction. Royal recognition of artistic excellence ensures that your reputation will attract the most important commissions available in Khmer civilization. The proportions are perfect, King Suryavarman observes, and the spiritual expression in her face suggests genuine divine inspiration. This level of work honors both the craftsman and the deities who guide his hands. Such praise from the God King validates not just your individual skill, but your understanding of the spiritual purpose that drives Angkor Wat construction. You are creating more than architectural decoration. You are providing sacred images that will facilitate communication between human worshippers and celestial realms for centuries to come. Evening rituals and sacred completion. As the tropical sun begins its descent toward the western horizon, painting the Angkor Wat construction site in golden light that makes every stone surface glow like amber, the day's formal work gradually transitions toward the evening rituals that mark the completion of another day's contribution to the Great Temple. The heat that made midday labor challenging now gives way to the more comfortable temperatures that allow for continued activity until darkness. Your Apsara figure has progressed significantly during the afternoon's focused work. The basic form is complete, her celestial grace clearly evident in the subtle curve of her pose and the serene expression carved into her face. The detailed work of jewelry and clothing ornamentation continues, but the spiritual essence of the divine dancer is now captured in stone, ready to inspire devotion in future generations of temple visitors. Setting aside your carving tools with the careful attention they require, you join the other workshop artisans in the daily ritual of offering thanks for divine guidance in the creative process. At the pavilion's small shrine, fresh flowers and incense create an atmosphere of gratitude and completion. These evening prayers serve multiple purposes, acknowledging the spiritual dimension of religious art, requesting continued inspiration for tomorrow's work, and creating community among craftsmen united in service to both artistic excellence and divine purpose. Your breathing naturally deepens as the day's intense concentration gives way to the more relaxed rhythms of evening rest. The focused attention required for detailed carving creates its own form of fatigue, different from simple physical tiredness, but equally demanding of recovery time. Each inhalation brings the cooling evening air. Each exhalation releases the accumulated tension of maintaining precision for hours of delicate work. The workshop cleanup proceeds according to established routines that ensure both efficiency and respect for the sacred nature of the work. Tools are cleaned, oiled, and stored in their designated places. Work surfaces are swept and covered to protect both equipment and unfinished carvings from dust and moisture. Partially completed pieces are wrapped in soft cloth and placed in secure storage where they'll be safe from accidental damage. As you organize your personal work area, you review the day's progress with the professional satisfaction that comes from meaningful work properly completed. The morning's planning and preparation led to steady progress on technically challenging artistic problems. The midday rest period provided necessary recovery without losing momentum. The afternoon's intensive carving, conducted under the awareness of possible royal inspection, pushed your skills to their highest level and produced results worthy of the temple's artistic standards. The royal visit earlier provided validation not just of individual craftsmanship, but of the entire workshop's commitment to excellence. King Suryavarman's knowledgeable appreciation of artistic techniques and religious symbolism demonstrated the sophisticated level of patronage that makes Angkor Wat possible. When rulers understand and value artistic achievement, craftsmen can pursue perfection without compromise. Walking home through the construction site as evening shadows lengthen, you observe the continuing transformation of vision into reality that defines the Angkor Wat project. Sections that were bare foundation stones when you arrived 3 years ago now rise as completed galleries with intricate carved decoration. Areas that existed only in architects' drawings now show the distinctive profiles of Khmer temple architecture. The Great Central Tower, Angkor Wat's ultimate symbol, grows steadily toward its final height of over 200 feet. The site's evening activities reflect the project's enormous scale and complex logistics. Night work continues in some areas where tasks don't require natural light. Stone finishing, tool maintenance, preparation of materials for tomorrow's construction, guards patrol the perimeter, protecting valuable equipment and completed artwork from potential theft or damage. Engineers monitor the hydraulic systems that supply fresh water and test the moats that will eventually surround the completed temple. Your house on stilts welcomes you with familiar comfort after the day's public work in the communal workshop environment. Here you can exist as an individual rather than as part of the vast collective effort that Angkor Wat construction requires. The private space provides necessary balance to work that demands constant coordination with other craftsmen and adherence to project-wide artistic standards. The evening meal reflects both personal preference and the sophisticated cuisine available in the Khmer Empire during its golden age. Rice prepared with coconut milk and pandan leaves provides a fragrant foundation. Curries made with fresh fish from the extensive lake and canal system offer protein and the complex flavors that Khmer cooking is famous for throughout Southeast Asia. Tropical fruits, mangoes, rambutans, jackfruit provide natural desserts that refresh after the day's work in tropical heat. As you eat, you review sketches and notes related to current and planned carving projects. The artistic program for Angkor Wat is incredibly complex, involving hundreds of individual carved elements that must work together to create a coherent religious and aesthetic statement. Your Apsara figures are part of larger narrative sequences that tell stories from Hindu scriptures while also celebrating the beauty and sophistication of Khmer civilization. The technical challenges of temple decoration require constant study and planning. Each carved element must be precisely sized and positioned to fit its designated location in the temple structure. The iconographic requirements must be balanced with artistic creativity to produce work that is both religiously authentic and aesthetically distinctive. The practical constraints of working in tropical conditions with available materials must be accommodated without compromising artistic standards. Your personal shrine within the house receives its evening offerings with the same attention given to morning devotions. The day's successful work deserves acknowledgement of divine assistance, while tomorrow's challenges require spiritual preparation. The carved apsaras you create aren't just artistic achievement, but religious service, providing sacred images that facilitate communication between earthly worshipers and celestial realms. Outside your elevated house, the sounds of evening in the temple construction community create a peaceful background for rest and reflection. Families share meals and conversation. Children play games that echo the adult activities they observe at the construction site. Musicians practice traditional songs that will accompany religious ceremonies once the temple is completed. The normal rhythms of human community continue within the extraordinary context of humanity's greatest architectural project. Your breathing settles into the natural rhythm of approaching rest as the day's activities wind down. The physical demands of precision carving, the mental concentration required for artistic problem solving, and the spiritual attention needed for religious art all contribute to the particular fatigue that comes from work that engages every aspect of human capacity. Through your window, you can see Angkor Wat's silhouette against the star-filled tropical sky. The temple's distinctive towers, even in their current incomplete state, create a profile that will become one of the most recognizable architectural forms in human history. Your individual contribution to this monumental achievement, one apsara among thousands of carved figures, represents a small but essential part of something truly eternal. The satisfaction of participating in such significant work provides deep meaning that transcends the immediate challenges of daily labor. Centuries from now, visitors to Angkor Wat will study and admire the celestial dancers you carved, finding in their stone grace inspiration for their own spiritual journeys. Your artistic vision, guided by religious devotion and technical mastery, will continue speaking to human hearts long after your individual life has ended. Night reflections under southern stars. As tropical darkness settles over the Angkor Wat construction site, the temperature finally drops to levels that provide genuine relief after another day of working in Cambodia's intense heat and humidity. Your elevated house catches every breath of evening breeze, the raised design allowing air to circulate freely beneath the bamboo floor, while the woven walls permit cooling drafts to flow through the living space. The oil lamp beside your sleeping mat casts dancing shadows on the bamboo walls, its flickering light creating patterns that shift and change, like the carved apsaras you work with daily. The flame burns coconut oil infused with aromatic herbs that help repel insects while providing a pleasant atmosphere for evening activities. This simple technology represents centuries of adaptation to tropical living, knowledge passed down through generations of Khmer civilization. Your body has settled into complete relaxation for the first time since dawn, the precise control required for stone carving finally released as muscles return to their natural state. The particular fatigue of detailed craftswork is different from simple physical exhaustion. It involves the eyes, the fine motor control of hands and fingers, and the sustained mental concentration needed to maintain artistic standards over long periods. On the low wooden table beside your mat, you arrange the day's tangible accomplishments alongside the tools and materials that make tomorrow's work possible. Sketches for future apsara figures, drawn on palm leaf paper with charcoal and red ochre pigments, small models carved in soft wood to test poses and proportions before committing to expensive sandstone. The traditional measuring instruments that ensure proper iconographic proportions in religious sculpture. Your breathing has found its natural evening rhythm, slower and deeper than the controlled patterns required for precision work. Each inhalation brings the complex sense of tropical night, flowering trees, the earth still warm from the day's sun, and the faint smell of incense that seems to permeate everything connected with temple construction. Each exhalation carries away some portion of the day's accumulated focus and intensity. The sounds of evening in the construction community filter through your bamboo walls. Distant conversations in various languages, the gentle splash of people bathing in the canals, occasionally the sound of traditional music as skilled performers practice for religious ceremonies. These familiar background sounds create a sense of being part of something larger, while still maintaining the privacy needed for individual rest and reflection. Your personal journal, written on specially prepared palm leaves with iron gall ink made from tree bark and minerals, awaits tonight's entry. Recording your daily experiences serves multiple purposes: documenting artistic techniques for future reference, preserving observations about construction methods that might benefit other projects, and simply processing the remarkable privilege of participating in history's greatest architectural achievement. Tonight's entry begins with technical notes about the day's carving progress, the particular challenges of rendering transparent fabric in stone, the subtle adjustments needed to make jewelry appear to hang naturally despite being carved from solid sandstone, the complex iconographic requirements that determine every detail of an apsara's appearance, from the number of petals in her crown to the specific mudras her hands must form. But beyond technical details, your journal also captures the human dimensions of working on Angkor Wat. The camaraderie among craftsmen who understand the unique pressures and rewards of their profession. The satisfaction of receiving royal recognition for artistic excellence. The daily awareness that your work contributes to something that will outlast your individual lifetime by centuries. Writing by lamplight, you find words for experiences that resist easy description. How do you explain the moment when a carved figure seems to come alive under your chisels? When stone begins to suggest the movement and grace of celestial dancers? How do you describe the responsibility of creating religious art that must serve both aesthetic and spiritual functions for generations of worshipers? The act of writing itself provides a meditative transition from the day's active work to evening rest. The careful formation of Khmer script characters, the organization of thoughts into coherent narrative, the physical process of recording experiences, all help process the complex emotions and challenges that come with participating in such an unprecedented undertaking. As you write, the oil lamp flame flickers occasionally in drafts that find their way through the bamboo construction. These momentary changes in light create shifting patterns on your writing surface, reminders of the impermanence that characterizes human existence, even while the temple you're building will endure for nearly a millennium. Your journal entry continues with reflections on the broader significance of Angkor Wat construction. This isn't just a building project, but a statement about human potential when civilization reaches its highest development. The temple demonstrates what becomes possible when political stability, economic prosperity, technical expertise, and spiritual devotion combine in service of a transcendent vision. The Khmer Empire in 1125 represents one of history's great civilizations at its absolute peak. The sophisticated hydraulic engineering that makes large-scale agriculture possible in tropical conditions. The complex trade networks that bring materials and ideas from across Southeast Asia and beyond. The religious and philosophical synthesis that creates uniquely Khmer forms of Hindu architecture and art. Your daily work occurs within this context of civilizational achievement. Through your window, the night sky displays the same constellation patterns that guided Angkor Wat's precise astronomical orientation. The temple's alignment with celestial phenomena isn't accidental, but reflects sophisticated knowledge of astronomy and its religious significance. When completed, Angkor Wat will serve as a kind of cosmic instrument, its architectural elements precisely positioned to mark important astronomical events. The night air carries distant sounds from other parts of the construction site, where essential work continues after dark. The hydraulic engineers monitor water levels and adjust flow rates in the complex canal system. Security guards patrol valuable materials and completed artwork. Essential maintenance continues on the machinery that lifts massive stones to the temple's upper levels. Your journal entry concludes with thoughts about tomorrow and the weeks ahead. The specific artistic challenges you'll face in completing the current Apsara series. The technical innovations that might improve carving efficiency without sacrificing quality. The gradual evolution of your own skills as you tackle increasingly complex iconographic programs. But such planning exists in the future, while tonight belongs to rest and contemplation. You close the journal and return it to its protective case, then prepare for sleep with the rituals that mark the end of another day, in service to eternal beauty. The small shrine beside your sleeping area receives its final offerings of the day. Fresh flowers that will wilt by morning, but whose beauty and fragrance honor the divine forces that guide artistic creation. Incense burns quietly, its aromatic smoke carrying prayers of gratitude for the day's successful work and requests for tomorrow's continued inspiration. As you arrange your sleeping mat and light cotton blanket, your body anticipates the rest it has earned through another day of demanding precision work. The tropical night air provides natural cooling, while the elevated bamboo construction allows breezes to flow freely around your sleeping space. Your breathing deepens naturally as you settle onto the woven mat, feeling your muscles finally release the careful tension required for stone carving. The transition from consciousness to sleep comes gradually, marked by the slowing of thought and the deepening of respiratory rhythm. Outside your house, Kajasnaus and Rajas and Juris, the construction community settles into its own patterns of rest and essential night work. Families conclude their evening meals and prepare children for sleep. Night shift workers take over responsibilities that cannot be interrupted. The great temple itself stands in partial completion, its towers and galleries silhouetted against the star-filled sky. Dreams, when they come, might bring visions of completed perfection. Angkor Wat, finished and functioning as the spiritual center of the Khmer Empire, its carved apsaras dancing in stone while pilgrims from across Asia come to worship and wonder. These dream images reflect both personal aspiration and collective vision, the shared hope that drives thousands of people to dedicate their lives to this unprecedented project. Sometimes you dream of the individual apsaras you've carved, seeing them as they will appear centuries from now when scholars and tourists study Angkor Wat as one of humanity's greatest artistic achievements. In these dreams, your stone dancers retain their divine grace while also serving as testimony to the skill and devotion of their unknown creators. Other dreams take you beyond the temple to the broader civilization it represents, the sophisticated cities connected by Angkor's hydraulic systems, the prosperous villages whose agricultural surplus supports urban craftsmen, the trading networks that bring exotic materials and ideas from distant lands. You dream of participating in something larger than individual existence, contributing your skills to a civilization at its creative peak. But tonight, as sleep takes deeper hold, consciousness gradually releases its grip on both memory and anticipation. The day's work is complete. Tomorrow's challenges rest in the future. And the present moment offers only the peaceful rhythm of breathing and the gentle transition into restorative rest. Your breathing becomes slower and more regular as sleep progresses through its natural cycles. The oil lamp burns lower, its flame growing smaller as the wick consumes its fuel, gradually dimming until only darkness remains. Outside, the tropical night enfolds the construction site in protective quiet, broken only by the essential sounds of security patrols and continuing night work. The master stone carver sleeps peacefully, having contributed another day's effort to humanity's greatest architectural achievement. Tomorrow will bring new challenges and opportunities in the sacred work of transforming divine vision into eternal stone. But for now, there is only rest, only the healing rhythm of sleep, only the peaceful surrender to renewal. Dawn, awakening in the second year. The morning light that filters through your bamboo walls carries a different quality today, marking the beginning of your second year working on the Angkor Wat construction project. The familiar scents and sounds of dawn at the temple site now feel like home, rather than the exotic experience they seemed 12 months ago. Your body has fully adapted to the rhythms of tropical construction work, rising naturally with the first hint of daylight without need for external prompting. You stretch slowly on your sleeping mat, feeling muscles that have grown stronger and more precisely controlled through hundreds of days of detailed stone carving. Your hands, when you examine them in the growing light, show the characteristic marks of a master craftsman, calluses in exactly the right places from tool handles, small scars from stone chips, but also the maintained sensitivity required for the most delicate artistic work. The construction site beyond your window has transformed dramatically during your first year here. Sections that existed only as foundation stones when you arrived now rise as completed galleries with their full complement of carved decoration. The central tower has grown significantly, its distinctive lotus bud profile now clearly visible from miles away. Water buffalo no longer need to navigate around construction obstacles that have been incorporated into the temple's permanent structure. Your morning rituals have evolved to reflect deepening understanding of the spiritual dimensions underlying your work. The prayers offered at your personal shrine now include specific requests for guidance in handling particular artistic challenges you've identified in upcoming projects. The incense you burn combines herbs chosen for their traditional associations with different aspects of divine inspiration. The tool maintenance that begins each day has become more sophisticated as your collection of specialized chisels has grown. Master Indra Varman periodically provides new tools designed for specific techniques you've mastered, each one blessed and consecrated for the sacred work of temple decoration. Your inherited father's chisels remain at the core of your collection, but they're now supplemented by implements that reflect your own developing artistic personality. Today's morning meal includes foods that have become available as the temple's agricultural support systems have matured, new varieties of vegetables cultivated specifically for the construction workforce, fish from ponds and canals that have been stocked and managed to provide protein for the enormous number of people the project supports. These practical developments reflect the same systematic approach to complex problems that characterizes every aspect of Angkor Wat construction. As you walk to the carving pavilion through increasingly familiar pathways, you notice subtle changes that mark the progression of this massive undertaking. Temporary bamboo structures have been replaced by permanent stone buildings that will serve ongoing temple maintenance. Rough earthen paths have been paved with dressed stone that will become part of the final processional routes. What began as a construction site is gradually transforming into the sacred complex it was always meant to become. The workshop itself has expanded significantly to accommodate the increasing complexity of carved decoration required as construction progresses toward completion. New pavilions house specialized craftsmen working on architectural elements too large or complex for the original facilities. Advanced apprentices who began as helpers now work on independent projects under master supervision. Your own role within this community has evolved from skilled newcomer to recognized expert whose opinion carries weight in artistic decisions. Master Indravarman increasingly consults you about iconographic problems and technical challenges, treating you as a colleague rather than simply a talented subordinate. This recognition brings both satisfaction and additional responsibility, as your recommendations influence the artistic program of sections still in planning stages. The current project occupying your attention represents one of the most challenging assignments you've yet undertaken, a series of narrative reliefs that must tell complex stories from the Ramayana, while maintaining visual coherence across dozens of individual carved panels. Each panel must work as an independent artistic composition, while also contributing to larger narrative sequences that viewers will read as they move through the temple galleries. Your breathing settles into the focused pattern required for this level of artistic complexity as you begin the day's work. The mental preparation for narrative carving involves not just technical planning, but deep study of the religious texts that provide source material. Every gesture, every compositional choice, every decorative detail must serve both aesthetic and spiritual functions. The morning progresses with the satisfying rhythm of challenging work, approached with confidence born from experience. Your chisels move with increasing sureness as the narrative scenes take shape under your hands. The sandstone responds to skilled treatment like a responsive partner in the creative process, its fine grain allowing details that seemed impossible when you first began learning temple carving techniques. Other master craftsmen work around you on their own specialties, the workshop humming with focused creative energy. The diversity of artistic challenges represented in current projects reflects Angkor Wat's unprecedented ambition. Architectural decoration that pushes every aspect of Khmer artistic tradition to new levels of sophistication and complexity. By midday, significant progress has been made on the morning's planned work. The Ramayana scenes are beginning to show their intended dramatic power, with individual figures displaying the emotional intensity that makes religious narrative compelling to viewers. Prince Rama's noble bearing contrasts with the demonic features of his adversaries, while Sita's grace and beauty shine even in her moments of greatest distress. The afternoon brings renewed focus as the day's heat begins to diminish, allowing for the kind of intensive concentration that detailed work requires. Your tools seem to move almost automatically now, guided by muscle memory and artistic intuition, developed through countless hours of practice. The conscious mind can focus on broader compositional issues, while the hands handle technical execution with practiced efficiency. As evening approaches and the day's formal work concludes, you review progress with the professional satisfaction that comes from meaningful challenges successfully met. The narrative panels show clear advancement toward their final form, with technical problems solved and artistic goals achieved. Tomorrow will bring new opportunities to push your skills even further as the project continues its evolution toward completion. The Master's Recognition. 3 years into your tenure at Angkor Wat, the morning brings news that will fundamentally change your role in this historic project. Master Indravarman approaches your workstation with the formal bearing that indicates important, official business. But his expression shows the satisfaction of a teacher whose student has exceeded all expectations. Jayavarman, he announces, King Suryavarman has specifically requested that you take charge of the narrative relief program for the entire Western Gallery. This represents the most important storytelling sequence in the temple, the great battle scenes from the Mahabharata that will inspire future generations of warriors and devotees. The magnitude of this assignment overwhelms you for a moment. The Western Gallery's reliefs will cover nearly 500 feet of wall space, requiring dozens of master carvers working under unified artistic direction. More importantly, these scenes will tell the story of the Great War between the Pandavas and Kauravas, one of Hinduism's most central narratives and a tale particularly significant to Khmer royal ideology. Your breathing deepens as you process both the honor and the responsibility this appointment represents. To be chosen for such a role at age 33 marks you as one of the kingdom's foremost artistic talents. But beyond personal achievement, the assignment means your artistic vision will shape how one of humanity's greatest religious stories is told in stone for centuries to come. The Western Gallery project will require not just technical mastery, but sophisticated understanding of military themes that connect the ancient epic to contemporary Khmer political concerns. King Suryavarman VII sees himself as a great warrior king in the tradition of the Mahabharata heroes, and the temple reliefs must reflect this royal identification while maintaining religious authenticity. Master Indravarman guides you through the preliminary planning that such a massive undertaking requires. Detailed study of the text sources to identify key episodes that must be included. Analysis of the gallery's architectural features to determine how narrative sequences can best utilize the available space. Coordination with other workshop supervisors to ensure stylistic consistency across the temple's various artistic programs. The workshop assigned to your direction includes some of the kingdom's finest carvers, artists whose individual reputations would qualify them for independent commissions on smaller temple projects. Managing their diverse talents while maintaining unified artistic vision will test leadership skills you've never before had occasion to develop. Your first major decision involves the overall approach to narrative organization. The Mahabharata's complexity could easily overwhelm viewers if presented without careful editorial judgment. You must select episodes that tell the essential story, while creating visual compositions that work effectively in the linear format of gallery walls. The preliminary sketches you develop show innovative solutions to classical problems in narrative art. Battle scenes that seem to surge with movement despite being carved in stone. Character groupings that make individual heroes identifiable, even within complex crowd scenes. Compositional rhythms that create visual music as viewers move along the gallery walls. Your breathing finds its natural rhythm as the artistic problem-solving engages every aspect of your creative intelligence. This is work that demands not just technical skill, but genuine artistic vision. The ability to see possibilities that haven't been realized before and find ways to make them manifest in stone. The royal approval required for such an important project comes through formal presentation of your preliminary designs to King Surya Varman himself. The king examines your sketches with the careful attention of someone who understands both artistic technique and political symbolism. His questions demonstrate sophisticated knowledge of the religious and cultural issues involved. These compositions capture the heroic spirit that makes the Mahabharata eternally inspiring, the king observes. The way you've arranged the battle formation shows understanding of both ancient warfare and contemporary military tactics. Future viewers will see both timeless religious truth and immediate political relevance. Such royal endorsement validates your artistic approach while also establishing the political framework within which the project must be completed. The Western Gallery reliefs will serve not just as religious art, but as propaganda celebrating Khmer military prowess and royal authority. The actual carving work begins with careful preparation of the gallery walls, ensuring that stone surfaces are perfectly smooth and properly oriented for optimal viewing angles. The scale of the undertaking becomes apparent as dozens of craftsmen begin transforming your sketches into three-dimensional reality. Your role shifts from individual craftsman to artistic director, requiring new skills in coordination and quality control. Daily inspections ensure that each carver understands his assigned sections and maintains consistency with the overall artistic program. Regular meetings with other workshop supervisors coordinate the Western Gallery work with concurrent projects throughout the temple. The work progresses with steady momentum as your artistic vision begins taking shape in stone. Individual scenes show the dramatic power you envisioned, while the larger narrative sequences develop the visual rhythm that will guide viewers through the epic story. The technical challenges prove manageable through careful planning and the extraordinary skill of your assigned craftsmen. By the end of your first month as workshop director, significant portions of the relief program show clear progress toward completion. The battle scenes display the heroic grandeur that royal patronage demands, while maintaining the religious authenticity required for sacred art. Individual figures combine idealized beauty with psychological depth that brings ancient characters to life for contemporary viewers. Your breathing has adapted to the different rhythms required for supervisory work. Longer periods of observation and planning alternating with intense bursts of hands-on artistic problem-solving. The mental demands of coordinating multiple craftsmen create their own form of fatigue, different from but equally challenging as individual carving work. The evening reviews you conduct with Master Indra Varman provide ongoing assessment of project progress and artistic quality. His experienced eye catches potential problems before they become serious issues, while his encouragement validates your evolving approach to large-scale artistic management. You've developed the vision to see how individual elements contribute to larger artistic goals, he observes. This ability to think simultaneously about details and overall effects marks you as a true master, not just a skilled craftsman. Such recognition from your former supervisor confirms your successful transition to senior artistic responsibility. The Western Gallery project represents not just professional advancement, but genuine artistic maturity, the ability to conceive and execute creative projects at the highest level of sophistication. As you walk home through the construction site that has become your professional world, you observe the continuing transformation that marks Angkor Wat's progression toward completion. Sections that were rough stone when you arrived now display finished carved decoration of unprecedented sophistication. Areas that existed only in architectural drawings now rise as completed galleries ready for their intended religious functions. Your own contribution to this historic achievement has evolved from individual craftsmanship to artistic leadership that will influence how the temple serves its religious and political purposes for centuries to come. The Western Gallery reliefs will be studied and admired by scholars, pilgrims, and casual visitors as long as Angkor Wat endures. The satisfaction of participating in work of such lasting significance provides meaning that transcends immediate challenges and temporary frustrations. Whatever difficulties arise in managing the complex Western Gallery project, you're contributing to something truly eternal, art that will continue speaking to human hearts and minds across centuries of cultural change. The monsoon season of sacred work. The arrival of the monsoon season brings dramatic changes to the rhythm of work at Angkor Wat, transforming both the physical environment and the practical challenges of construction. The seasonal rains that begin in May and continue through October make outdoor stone carving impossible during the heaviest downpours. But they also provide essential water for the temple's elaborate hydraulic systems and create conditions that allow for different types of artistic work. Your workshop, like all the carving pavilions, has been expanded with additional roof coverage to protect both craftsmen and artwork from the driving rain that characterizes tropical storms. The sound of water drumming on ceramic tiles creates a constant background that becomes as familiar as the percussion of chisels against stone during dry season work. The enforced indoor periods during heavy rainstorms provide opportunities for activities that complement active carving. Detailed study of religious texts that inform iconographic decisions. Careful planning of future projects that will begin when weather conditions improve. Maintenance and creation of specialized tools that precision work requires. Your role as director of the Western Gallery project takes on new dimensions during monsoon season. The narrative reliefs you're supervising must be protected from rain damage while still allowing work to continue on covered sections. Coordination with other workshop directors becomes more complex as everyone adjusts schedules to accommodate weather constraints. The seasonal flooding that accompanies monsoon rains serves dual purposes in the Angkor Wat construction process. Obviously, it tests and refines the hydraulic engineering that will eventually make the temple appear to float on sacred waters. But the flood cycle also provides transportation opportunities for massive stone blocks that can be floated on specially constructed rafts during high water periods. Your breathing adjusts naturally to the higher humidity and changed air pressure that accompany monsoon weather. The tropical atmosphere becomes almost tangible during the wettest periods, but your body has adapted through years of working in these conditions. The additional moisture in the air actually makes some types of detailed carving easier by preventing the stone dust that can obscure fine work during dry periods. The artistic challenges you face during monsoon season involve adapting to changed lighting conditions and work schedules. The indirect light that filters through storm clouds eliminates harsh shadows, but also requires more careful attention to subtle details. Work periods must be planned around weather patterns that can change rapidly from clear skies to torrential downpours. The Western Gallery reliefs continue their steady progress despite seasonal constraints. The battle scenes from the Mahabharata are beginning to show their intended dramatic impact, with individual warriors displaying heroic characteristics that make ancient stories immediate and compelling to contemporary viewers. Prince Arjuna's noble bearing contrasts effectively with the demonic features of his adversaries, while supporting characters show the full range of human emotion that epic conflict evokes. The monsoon season also brings religious festivals that interrupt regular work schedules, but provide spiritual renewal for the entire construction community. The elaborate ceremonies that mark important points in the Hindu calendar remind everyone that Angkor Wat serves sacred purposes beyond its function as royal monument and architectural achievement. Your participation in these religious observances deepens your understanding of the spiritual context within which your artistic work operates. The temple you're helping to build isn't simply architecture, but a sacred instrument designed to facilitate communication between earthly and divine realms. Every carved figure, every decorative element, contributes to this larger religious purpose. The communal aspects of monsoon season construction create stronger bonds among craftsmen who spend more time in shared indoor spaces. Conversations during rain delays range across technical topics, artistic challenges, and the broader cultural significance of the project you're all contributing to. These informal discussions often produce innovative solutions to problems that individual contemplation might not resolve. Your workshop has developed its own traditions for monsoon season activities, competitive carving exercises that help maintain skills during reduced work periods, collaborative planning sessions for future projects that require input from multiple specialists, social gatherings that strengthen the professional relationships essential for coordinated artistic work. The apprentices in your charge use enforced indoor time for intensive study of iconographic requirements and traditional techniques. Monsoon season provides opportunities for theoretical learning that complements the hands-on training they receive during active carving periods. This balanced approach to artistic education ensures that traditional knowledge passes accurately to the next generation of temple craftsmen. As the monsoon season progresses, you begin planning for the intensive work period that will follow when dry weather returns. The Western Gallery project must reach certain completion milestones before the next seasonal cycle begins. Coordination with stone suppliers, tool makers, and other specialists becomes crucial for maintaining project momentum. Your evening reflections during monsoon season take on different qualities as rain sounds provide natural background for contemplation. The forced, slower pace allows for deeper consideration of artistic and spiritual questions that the intense activity of dry season work sometimes pushes aside. These periods of reflection often produce insights that improve your approach to ongoing projects. The seasonal cycle at Angkor Wat reminds you that even the greatest human achievements must accommodate natural forces beyond human control. The temple's design incorporates monsoon patterns into its fundamental architecture, using seasonal flooding to create the sacred lake that enhances both practical and spiritual functions. Your breathing finds its natural rhythm for monsoon season contemplation as evening rain creates the perfect atmosphere for review and planning. The day's covered workshop activities have maintained progress on essential artistic work, while also providing time for the broader perspective that helps maintain focus on ultimate goals. The final year, approaching completion. 7 years after beginning work at Angkor Wat, you find yourself in the extraordinary position of witnessing one of humanity's greatest architectural achievements, approaching completion. The temple that existed only in visionary drawings when you first arrived now rises in full magnificence, its 5 central towers reaching toward the sky like stone lotus buds blooming in eternal stone. Your role in this historic project has evolved from individual craftsman to master artist to workshop director to one of the senior artistic advisors whose opinions influence major decisions about the temple's final decorative elements. The Western Gallery reliefs under your supervision have become acknowledged masterpieces of narrative art, drawing praise from royal visitors and fellow craftsmen alike. The morning light that filters through your bamboo walls now illuminates a living space enriched by 7 years of meaningful work. Sketches and models for completed projects serve as personal archives, documenting your contribution to Angkor Wat's artistic program. Tools worn smooth by years of use reflect the depth of your commitment to excellence in religious art. Your morning rituals have reached a level of spiritual sophistication that reflects deepening understanding of the sacred purposes underlying your work. The prayers offered at your personal shrine now include specific gratitude for the privilege of participating in such significant creation. The incense you burn combines rare herbs that acknowledge the approaching completion of your service to this divine project. The walk to your workshop takes you through a construction site transformed by approaching completion. Temporary buildings have been removed or converted to permanent. Temple support facilities, pathways that began as rough construction routes now show the final stone paving that will guide pilgrims through the sacred complex. The enormous machinery required for lifting massive stones to upper levels stands idle, its work complete. The temple itself displays the full glory of Khmer architectural achievement. The 5 central towers rise in perfect proportion, their distinctive profiles visible from miles away. The elaborate gallery system creates sacred processional routes that connect outer courtyards to inner sanctuaries through a carefully planned sequence of increasingly sacred spaces. Your Western gallery reliefs have taken their place as essential elements in Angkor Wat's artistic program. The Mahabharata battle scenes you designed and supervised represent some of the finest narrative carving ever achieved in Southeast Asian art. Visitors spend hours studying the individual warriors and dramatic episodes you transformed from ancient text to eternal stone. The technical innovations your workshop developed for large-scale narrative carving have influenced artistic practice throughout the Khmer Empire. Other temple projects now employ compositional techniques and carving methods that originated in your solutions to Angkor Wat's unprecedented artistic challenges. This morning brings news that adds special significance to your final months at the temple. King Suryavarman VII has announced that the formal consecration ceremony will take place within 6 months, marking Angkor Wat's transition from construction project to functioning religious center. Your presence has been specifically requested at the royal ceremonies that will mark this historic moment. The approaching consecration creates urgency around completing final decorative elements, while also requiring careful planning for the elaborate religious ceremonies that will transform Angkor Wat from architecture to sacred space. Your artistic expertise contributes to both practical completion tasks and ceremonial preparations. The morning's work involves final inspections of completed relief sequences, ensuring that every detail meets the highest standards for religious art that will serve sacred functions for centuries. The 7 years of development in your artistic vision become apparent as you compare early work with recent achievements. The same technical excellence, but increased spiritual depth and emotional sophistication. Your breathing settles into patterns refined through thousands of hours of precision work as you examine individual carved figures with the critical eye that excellence demands. Each warrior in the battle scenes displays proper iconographic attributes, while also showing personality and emotional depth that brings ancient stories to immediate life. The afternoon brings collaborative planning sessions with other senior artists as final projects receive coordination and approval. The religious and political symbolism embedded in Angkor Wat's decorative program must work together to create coherent statements about Khmer civilization's spiritual achievements and royal authority. Your role in these high-level artistic discussions reflects the professional recognition you've earned through 7 years of exceptional work. Fellow masters seek your opinion on iconographic questions and technical challenges, treating you as an equal whose artistic judgment carries weight in important decisions. The evening reviews you conduct now focus on legacy issues, ensuring that artistic standards and techniques your workshop developed will continue after your eventual departure from the project. The apprentices you've trained represent the next generation of Khmer temple artists, carrying forward innovations that originated in Angkor Wat's unprecedented challenges. As you walk home through the nearly completed temple complex, the magnitude of what has been achieved becomes overwhelming. The vision that existed in King Suryavarman's imagination has become reality through the dedicated labor of hundreds of thousands of people over more than 3 decades. Your individual contribution represents a small but essential part of something truly eternal. The satisfaction of participating in such historically significant work provides meaning that transcends any individual career achievements. The Western Gallery reliefs you created will continue telling the Mahabharata's timeless stories to visitors from around the world for as long as human civilization endures. Your breathing deepens with the profound contentment that comes from work completed according to the highest possible standards. 7 years of creative challenge have produced artistic achievements that represent the peak of your professional capabilities, while also serving spiritual purposes larger than individual artistic expression. The Consecration Dawn. The morning of Angkor Wat's formal consecration arrives with the kind of perfect weather that seems divinely ordained for such momentous occasions. Clear skies stretch endlessly above the temple complex, while gentle breezes carry the scents of flowers and incense from preparation activities that began before dawn throughout the sacred grounds. You awaken naturally in the pre-dawn darkness, your body attuned after 7 years to the rhythms of temple life, but recognizing that today marks a transition unlike any other. The construction phase of your life is ending, to be replaced by the reality of Angkor Wat functioning as the religious and political center it was always intended to become. Your morning preparations take on ceremonial significance appropriate to the day's historic importance. The finest clothing available to a master craftsman, silk garments in the deep blue and gold colors associated with royal occasions, jewelry that marks your elevated status among the temple's artistic community, the traditional top knot secured with the gold pin presented by King Surya Varman, himself in recognition of your artistic achievements. The personal shrine in your house receives special offerings that acknowledge both gratitude for the privilege of participating in this project and prayers for the temple's successful function in its sacred role. 7 years of daily devotions culminate in this morning's recognition that your individual work has contributed to something far greater than personal artistic achievement. Your breathing naturally deepens as you prepare to witness the transformation of construction site into sacred space. The focused rhythms that accompanied years of detailed carving work give way to the more ceremonial patterns appropriate for religious observance of extraordinary significance. The walk to the temple complex reveals preparation activities on a scale appropriate to one of the most important religious ceremonies in Khmer history. Thousands of participants, priests, court officials, honored guests from throughout the empire, representatives of allied kingdoms, have gathered for rituals that will formally invite divine presence to inhabit the sacred architecture. Your position in the ceremonial proceedings reflects the recognition you've earned through 7 years of exceptional artistic service. Among the honored craftsmen whose contributions made Angkor Wat possible, you occupy a place of respect that acknowledges both individual achievement and representation of the artistic community whose collective efforts created the temple's unprecedented beauty. The temple itself appears more magnificent than ever in the perfect light of consecration morning. Every carved surface seems to glow with inner radiance, as if the stone itself recognizes the significance of this moment. The Western Gallery reliefs you created display their narrative power with particular clarity, the Mahabharata warriors seeming almost to move as sunlight shifts across their carefully carved features. The consecration ceremonies begin with elaborate purification rituals that prepare both the physical temple and the spiritual environment for divine inhabitation. Sacred waters collected from rivers throughout the Khmer Empire are used to cleanse every surface, while incense smoke carries prayers and offerings to celestial realms. Your role as witness to these historic rituals provides perspective on the ultimate purpose that guided 7 years of artistic labor. The carved apsaras you helped create will now serve their intended function as mediators between human worshippers and divine presence. The narrative reliefs will educate and inspire generations of pilgrims who come seeking spiritual guidance and cultural connection. The moment when King Suryavarman VII formally dedicates Angkor Wat to Vishnu marks the culmination of the most ambitious architectural project in human history. The God King's words invoke divine blessing on the temple while also claiming royal credit for its creation. The political and religious dimensions of the achievement merge in ceremonies that celebrate both spiritual devotion and earthly power. Your breathing synchronizes with the chanted prayers that fill the temple galleries, thousands of voices creating acoustic effects that the architecture was designed to enhance. The sound seems to emanate from the stone itself, as if the temple has found its voice and joins in celebration of its own completion. The artistic program you helped create functions exactly as intended during the consecration ceremonies. Pilgrims study the carved narratives with obvious spiritual engagement, finding in stone stories the inspiration and guidance that religious art should provide. The apsaras seem to dance in the flickering light of thousands of oil lamps, their divine grace inspiring devotion in viewers. As the ceremonies continue throughout the day, you observe the successful transformation of architectural vision into spiritual reality. The temple that began as a construction project has become the sacred center it was always meant to be, ready to serve religious and political functions for centuries to come. The evening celebrations that conclude the consecration day provide fitting recognition for the craftsmen whose skills made Angkor Wat possible. King Suryavarman's personal thanks for your artistic contributions acknowledge both individual achievement and collective dedication that brought his visionary project to successful completion. Your breathing settles into patterns of profound satisfaction as the day's historic events draw to their close. 7 years of creative challenge have produced lasting contributions to human artistic achievement while also serving spiritual purposes that transcend individual artistic ambition. The moonlight that illuminates Angkor Wat on its consecration night reveals the temple in its full glory. Not just architectural achievement, but sacred instrument designed to connect earthly and divine realms. Your carved contributions to this eternal conversation between stone and spirit will continue speaking to human hearts as long as civilization endures. Departure and legacy. The morning that marks your departure from Angkor Wat dawns with the same tropical beauty that has characterized countless days of artistic labor over the past 7 years, but today carries the weight of ending, of transition from the identity you've built as temple craftsmen to whatever future awaits beyond this unprecedented project. Your bamboo house has been gradually emptied of personal possessions over the past week, leaving only the essential furniture that will serve your replacement. One of your former apprentices, whose skills have matured enough to warrant his own workshop and living quarters. The tools you cannot carry will remain to serve future temple maintenance, their steel worn smooth by years of creating religious art. The morning rituals that have structured thousands of days at Angkor Wat take on final significance as you offer concluding prayers at your personal shrine. Gratitude for the privilege of participating in this historic achievement. Requests for divine blessing on the temple's continuing sacred function. Prayers that your artistic contributions will serve their spiritual purpose for generations of pilgrims yet to come. Your breathing settles into the contemplative rhythm appropriate for significant transitions as you prepare to leave the only professional life you've known for 7 transformative years. Each inhalation brings the familiar sense of the temple complex: stone dust, incense, tropical flowers, the particular atmosphere created by thousands of people dedicated to sacred work. Each exhalation releases attachment to place while preserving memory of meaningful contribution. The personal possessions you'll carry represent carefully chosen reminders of your time at Angkor Wat. sketches of completed projects that document your artistic evolution, small carved models that preserve innovative techniques for future reference, the worn chisels inherited from your father, now seasoned by creating art for the greatest temple ever built. Your final walk through the construction site reveals a landscape completely transformed from the raw materials and rough earth you first encountered. Every pathway now shows finished stonework. Every building displays completed carved decoration. The temporary workshops and living quarters have given way to permanent facilities that will serve the temple's ongoing functions. The Western Gallery reliefs you created stand as your most visible legacy, their narrative power evident in the attention they receive from early pilgrims and visiting dignitaries. The Mahabharata warriors you carved will continue telling their eternal stories of heroism, duty, and divine justice as long as the temple endures. Your artistic vision has become part of humanity's permanent cultural heritage. Master Indravarman accompanies your final departure, his presence honoring the professional relationship that shaped your development as an artist. His farewell words acknowledge both personal achievement and contribution to collective success that made Angkor Wat possible. Your work here represents the highest standards of religious art, he says. The techniques you developed and the artistic vision you brought to our most challenging projects will influence temple construction throughout the empire for generations to come. Such recognition from your mentor validates 7 years of creative struggle while also acknowledging the broader significance of innovations that originated in solving Angkor Wat's unprecedented artistic challenges. Your individual achievement serves larger cultural purposes that extend far beyond personal career advancement. The formal farewell ceremony conducted by temple officials reflects the honor accorded to master craftsmen whose contributions made the project successful. King Suryavarman VII has personally signed the documents that grant you land and lifetime income in recognition of artistic service to the crown. Such royal generosity ensures comfortable retirement while also demonstrating the value placed on exceptional artistic achievement. Your departure from Angkor Wat marks not the end of your professional life, but transition to a new phase focused on training the next generation of temple artists. The workshop you'll establish in your home village will serve regional construction projects while also preserving the advanced techniques developed during your years at the Great Temple. The apprentices you trained at Angkor Wat will carry forward your artistic innovations to temples throughout the Khmer Empire and beyond. The compositional methods you developed for large-scale narrative carving will influence religious art across Southeast Asia for centuries. Your technical solutions to complex iconographic problems will be studied and adapted by artists you'll never meet. As your ox cart carries you away from the temple complex, you take a final look at the architectural miracle you helped create. The 5 central towers rise against the morning sky like prayers made manifest in stone. The elaborate gallery system creates sacred geometry that connects earthly pilgrimage to cosmic order. Every carved surface displays artistic achievement at the highest level human skill can reach. Your breathing deepens with the satisfaction that comes from work completed according to ultimate standards. 7 years of creative challenge have produced contributions to human cultural achievement that will endure as long as civilization itself. The stone figures you carved will continue inspiring devotion and wonder in viewers across centuries of cultural change. The road that leads away from Angkor Wat takes you through countryside that shows the prosperity made possible by the empire's sophisticated agricultural and hydraulic engineering. Rice paddies stretch to the horizon, their productivity supporting the urban centers where artists and craftsmen pursue the specialized work that makes civilization possible. Your new life will combine the practical satisfactions of teaching traditional skills with the deeper fulfillment that comes from preserving cultural knowledge for future generations. The workshop you establish will serve as a bridge between the unprecedented achievements of Angkor Wat and the continuing tradition of Khmer religious art. The village that becomes your new home welcomes you with the respect accorded to someone whose artistic achievements have earned royal recognition. Your reputation as one of Angkor Wat's master carvers ensures steady work on local temple projects, while also attracting talented apprentices eager to learn advanced techniques. Your breathing finds its natural rhythm for this new phase of life, as the cart journey provides time for reflection on achievement and anticipation of future contribution. The intensive focus required for temple carving gives way to the broader perspective appropriate for teaching and cultural preservation. The Master Teacher's Workshop. 5 years after leaving Angkor Wat, your life has found new rhythms, centered around the workshop you've established in your ancestral village. The building itself reflects both practical needs and symbolic significance. Traditional Khmer architecture, enhanced by innovations learned during your temple years, creating workspace that honors cultural heritage while incorporating improved techniques. Your morning begins in a house built according to specifications refined through years of temple living. Elevated construction provides cooling airflow and flood protection. Carved wooden details display your continued artistic development. The personal shrine receives offerings that acknowledge both gratitude for past achievements and prayers for success in current teaching responsibilities. The workshop attracts apprentices from throughout the region, young artists eager to learn techniques developed at humanity's greatest architectural project. Your teaching methods combine traditional approaches with innovations that reflect 7 years of solving unprecedented artistic challenges. Students receive not just technical training, but understanding of the spiritual purposes that give religious art its deepest meaning. Your breathing settles into patterns adapted to teaching rather than individual creation as you review the day's planned instruction. The focused intensity required for personal carving work has evolved into the broader awareness needed to guide multiple students through various stages of artistic development. The current class includes students whose diverse backgrounds reflect the cosmopolitan nature of Khmer civilization. Ethnic Khmer from local villages learning traditional techniques, Mon craftsmen seeking advanced training in narrative carving, Vietnamese artisans studying architectural decoration methods. Each student contributes different perspectives while learning unified artistic principles. The morning instruction focuses on iconographic requirements for religious sculpture, using examples from your Angkor Wat experience to illustrate principles that apply to all temple decoration. The Apsara figures you carved serve as teaching models that demonstrate proper proportions, appropriate gesture vocabulary, and spiritual expression requirements. Your students examine detailed drawings you made of completed Angkor Wat reliefs, learning to analyze compositional choices and technical solutions that make complex narrative carving successful. These visual archives serve as textbooks that preserve advanced artistic knowledge for transmission to future generations. The practical carving exercises that occupy the afternoon provide hands-on application of theoretical principles covered in morning sessions. Each student works on projects scaled to his current skill level while receiving individual guidance that accelerates artistic development. Your teaching approach emphasizes understanding underlying principles rather than simple imitation of surface techniques. The workshop's reputation for excellence attracts commissions for temple projects throughout the region, providing students with experience working on actual religious art while generating income that supports the teaching program. These practical projects demonstrate how advanced techniques apply to real-world artistic challenges. Your role as regional artistic authority brings consultation requests from temple committees planning new construction. Your expertise guides iconographic decisions and technical approaches, while ensuring that new projects maintain the high standards established at Angkor Wat. This consulting work spreads artistic innovations throughout the Khmer Empire's expanding temple network. The evening instruction periods focus on cultural and spiritual dimensions of religious art that complement daytime technical training. Students study Hindu scriptures that provide source material for temple decoration. Philosophical discussions explore the relationship between artistic beauty and spiritual truth. These evening sessions develop the deeper understanding that distinguishes mere craftsmen from genuine religious artists. Your personal artistic practice continues alongside teaching responsibilities, though with different focus and rhythm than the intensive production required at Angkor Wat. Current projects explore possibilities for innovation within traditional frameworks, developing new approaches to classical iconographic programs. The village community has embraced your presence as validation of local cultural significance. Parents point proudly to children who study in your workshop. Local officials consult you about cultural matters that require artistic expertise. Your success reflects honor on the entire community, while also providing practical benefits through increased economic activity. Your breathing finds its natural evening rhythm as the day's teaching concludes, and students disperse to their own study and practice. The satisfaction of sharing knowledge differs from but equals the fulfillment that came from individual artistic achievement. Each student who masters advanced techniques extends the influence of innovations developed at Angkor Wat. The workshop's evening activities include collaborative projects that give advanced students experience working as artistic teams. These group exercises replicate the coordination required for large-scale temple decoration, while also fostering professional relationships that will serve students throughout their careers. Your personal studies continue to evolve as teaching experience provides new perspectives on artistic principles you previously understood mainly through practical application. Explaining techniques to students deepens your own comprehension while also revealing possibilities for further innovation and development. The circle of legacy 20 years have passed since you first arrived at the Angkor Wat construction site as a promising young craftsman eager to contribute to the greatest architectural project in human history. Now, as a recognized master teacher whose workshop has trained some of the Khmer Empire's finest religious artists, you observe the continuing influence of innovations that originated in solving that unprecedented project's artistic challenges. Your morning routine reflects the accumulated wisdom of decades spent in service to religious art. The prayers offered at your personal shrine acknowledge both individual achievement and participation in cultural traditions that extend far beyond any single lifetime. The gratitude you express encompasses your own artistic development, the privilege of training exceptional students, and the broader satisfaction of contributing to humanity's spiritual and cultural heritage. The workshop has evolved into one of the region's most important centers for advanced artistic training. Students now come from kingdoms throughout Southeast Asia seeking instruction in techniques that originated at Angkor Wat. Your teaching has influenced temple construction from modern-day Thailand to Vietnam, spreading Khmer artistic innovations across a vast cultural area. Your breathing settles into the contemplative rhythms appropriate to reflection on achievement and legacy. The intensive focus required for creating individual artworks has given way to the broader perspective that comes from understanding how artistic innovations spread through cultural networks and influence generations of creative work. The most accomplished students from your early teaching years have established their own workshops, extending your artistic lineage throughout the Khmer Empire and beyond. Several now serve as master artists on major temple projects, applying techniques learned in your village workshop to construction sites of regional significance. Their success validates your teaching methods while also demonstrating the continuing vitality of innovations developed at Angkor Wat. Current students represent the third generation to study under your guidance, many attracted by reputations built by earlier graduates who have achieved professional recognition. This ongoing cycle of artistic education ensures that advanced techniques will continue developing rather than simply being preserved in static form. Your own artistic practice has evolved toward increasingly personal expression within traditional frameworks. Recent carvings explore subtle variations in iconographic interpretation that reflect decades of deepening spiritual understanding. These works serve both as continuing artistic development and as teaching models that demonstrate possibilities for innovation within established religious requirements. The regional artistic community recognizes your workshop as heir to Angkor Wat's artistic legacy, treating your technical innovations and aesthetic principles as authoritative guides for contemporary temple decoration. Visiting artists study your methods and compete for opportunities to train under your supervision. Your breathing finds its natural rhythm for morning contemplation as you review the remarkable trajectory that has defined your professional life. From village apprentice to temple master to influential teacher, each phase has built upon previous experience while opening new possibilities for artistic contribution. The commissions your workshop receives demonstrate the continuing demand for artistic excellence in religious contexts. Temple committees throughout the region request your guidance for major decorative programs, understanding that your Angkor Wat experience ensures the highest possible standards for sacred art. The cultural significance of your teaching extends beyond technical instruction to preservation of the spiritual understanding that gives religious art its deepest meaning. Students learn not just how to carve iconographically correct figures, but why particular artistic choices serve religious purposes and how aesthetic beauty can facilitate authentic spiritual experience. Your personal collection of sketches, models, and finished pieces documents the evolution of Khmer religious art over several decades of active practice. These materials serve as visual archives that preserve artistic knowledge while also providing inspiration for continued innovation and development. The afternoon instruction sessions continue to emphasize hands-on learning through practical projects that challenge students to apply theoretical knowledge to actual artistic problems. The workshop's reputation attracts commissions that provide ideal training opportunities while also maintaining the high standards that mark your teaching program. Your evening reflections increasingly focus on the broader cultural impact of artistic innovations that originated in responding to Angkor Wat's unprecedented challenges. The techniques developed for that project have influenced temple construction throughout Southeast Asia and beyond, demonstrating how artistic solutions to specific problems can have far-reaching cultural consequences. The satisfaction of having contributed to this cultural legacy provides meaning that transcends individual artistic achievement. Your carvings at Angkor Wat will endure as long as the temple itself, while your teaching has multiplied that influence through generations of students who carry forward advanced techniques and spiritual understanding. Your breathing deepens with the profound contentment that comes from a life devoted to meaningful work. From individual craftsmanship through artistic leadership to cultural education, each phase has served purposes larger than personal advancement, while also providing the deep satisfaction that comes from excellence in chosen endeavors. The evening of a life's work, as the sun sets on your 70th year, casting long shadows across the workshop that has been your life's focus for the past quarter century, you find yourself in a position of rare privilege, able to observe the full trajectory and lasting impact of a career devoted to religious art at its highest level of achievement. Your morning routine has adapted to the gentler rhythms appropriate to advanced age, while maintaining the spiritual focus that has always guided your artistic work. The prayers offered at your personal shrine now include specific gratitude for the longevity that has allowed you to see your innovations spread throughout the artistic culture of Southeast Asia. The workshop continues under the direction of your most accomplished former students, though you remain available for consultation on the most challenging projects and complex iconographic questions. Your role has evolved from active teacher to honored advisor, whose experience encompasses the full development of Khmer religious art over more than 5 decades. Your breathing settles naturally into the contemplative patterns that mark evening reflections on achievement and legacy. The focused intensity that characterized decades of active artistic work has given way to the peaceful awareness that comes from understanding how individual contribution fits into larger patterns of cultural development and spiritual tradition. Recent visitors to your workshop have included scholars from distant kingdoms interested in documenting the techniques and spiritual principles that originated in your response to Angkor Wat's unprecedented artistic challenges. Their questions provide opportunities to articulate knowledge that has mostly been transmitted through practical demonstration rather than verbal explanation. The artistic genealogy that traces back to your teaching extends across multiple generations and vast geographic areas. Students trained in your methods now serve as master artists on temple projects from modern-day Myanmar to Indonesia, carrying Khmer innovations into new cultural contexts while also contributing their own creative developments. Your personal artistic practice has evolved toward increasingly refined expression within the iconographic frameworks that have guided a lifetime of religious art. Recent small carvings display technical mastery achieved through decades of experience, combined with spiritual understanding deepened by years of contemplation and study. The collection of sketches, models, and finished pieces that documents your artistic development serves as an archive of Khmer religious art during its period of greatest achievement. These materials provide visual evidence of how individual artistic vision can develop within traditional frameworks while also contributing to cultural innovation and spiritual expression. Your breathing finds its natural rhythm for evening contemplation as you observe the continuing influence of work that began more than 50 years ago at humanity's greatest architectural project. The stone figures you carved at Angkor Wat continue inspiring pilgrims and scholars, while your teaching has multiplied that influence through countless students across multiple generations. The regional recognition of your contributions to Khmer cultural achievement includes honors from royal courts and religious authorities who understand the significance of preserving and transmitting advanced artistic knowledge. These acknowledgments validate a lifetime of dedication, while also highlighting the cultural importance of excellence in religious art. Your workshop's current students represent cultures and artistic traditions from throughout Southeast Asia, drawn by the reputation for instruction that combines technical excellence with deep spiritual understanding. Their diverse backgrounds contribute to artistic synthesis that keeps traditional forms vital while allowing for meaningful innovation. The temple projects influenced by your teaching demonstrate the continuing relevance of innovations developed for Angkor Wat's unprecedented artistic challenges. Compositional methods, carving techniques, and iconographic interpretations that originated in your workshop appear in religious art throughout the region. Testament to the enduring value of excellence in serving spiritual purposes. Your evening walks through the village that has been your home for decades provide opportunities to observe how artistic achievement contributes to community pride and cultural identity. Parents still point proudly to children who study in your workshop, understanding that such education connects local youth to the greatest achievements of their civilization. The satisfaction that comes from reviewing a life devoted to meaningful work encompasses both personal achievement and service to cultural and spiritual purposes larger than individual ambition. Your artistic career has contributed to humanity's religious heritage, while also providing the deep fulfillment that comes from excellence in chosen endeavors. Your breathing deepens with the peaceful awareness that comes from understanding how individual effort contributes to cultural continuity and spiritual tradition. The techniques you developed, the students you trained, and the artistic vision you articulated will continue influencing religious art long after your individual life has ended. As darkness settles over the workshop and village, you rest in the knowledge that your contribution to human cultural and spiritual achievement will endure. The stone figures you carved at Angkor Wat will continue their eternal dance as long as the temple stands, while your teaching has ensured that the artistic innovations developed there will continue evolving through future generations of creative work. The final dawn. Your last morning dawns with the same tropical beauty that has blessed countless days of artistic endeavor throughout your long and productive life. The familiar sounds of the village awakening, children's voices, the splash of morning baths, the gentle percussion of daily preparation create a peaceful background for final reflections on achievement and legacy. Your breathing has found its ultimate rhythm, slow and peaceful, matching the natural cycles of rest and contemplation that mark advanced age. Each inhalation brings acceptance of life's approaching completion. Each exhalation releases attachment while preserving gratitude for opportunities to serve purposes greater than individual existence. The personal shrine that has received your daily offerings for decades receives its final attention with the same devotion that has characterized your spiritual practice throughout your artistic career. Prayers of gratitude for the privilege of participating in humanity's greatest architectural achievement, requests for divine blessing on the students, and cultural traditions that will carry forward innovations developed through your lifetime of dedicated work. Your most accomplished former students have gathered to receive final guidance and blessing, understanding that they are inheriting responsibility for preserving and transmitting artistic knowledge that connects them to the greatest achievements of their civilization. Their presence validates the success of teaching methods that have influenced religious art throughout Southeast Asia. The workshop that has been your life's focus for 25 years will continue under the direction of masters you trained, ensuring that techniques developed at Angkor Wat will continue evolving rather than being preserved in static form. This living tradition represents the most appropriate memorial to a career devoted to cultural innovation and spiritual service. Your breathing settles into patterns of final acceptance as you contemplate the remarkable trajectory that has defined your existence. From village youth through temple craftsman to regional master to cultural educator. Each phase has built upon previous experience while opening new possibilities for meaningful contribution. The artistic legacy you leave encompasses not just individual carvings and teaching accomplishments, but participation in cultural developments that will influence human spiritual and aesthetic expression for centuries to come. Your stone figures at Angkor Wat will continue their eternal presence, while your educational innovations ensure that advanced techniques will remain vital rather than becoming museum curiosities. Personal possessions accumulated over decades of artistic practice provide tangible evidence of lifelong dedication to excellence in religious art. Sketches document the evolution of aesthetic vision. Tools worn smooth by years of use represent commitment to technical mastery. Finished pieces demonstrate the spiritual understanding that transforms mere craftsmanship into authentic religious expression. The village community that has been your home gathers to acknowledge contributions that have brought honor to local cultural traditions, while also connecting regional identity to achievements of historic significance. Your success represents validation of traditional values while also demonstrating possibilities for innovation within established frameworks. Your breathing deepens with the profound peace that comes from understanding how individual effort contributes to cultural continuity and spiritual tradition. The work you began as a young craftsman at Angkor Wat has influenced artistic development across multiple generations and vast geographic areas, multiplying initial contribution through decades of teaching and cultural leadership. As consciousness begins its final transition, you rest in knowledge that artistic achievement and cultural service have provided life with meaning that transcends individual existence. The techniques you developed, students you trained, and spiritual understanding you articulated will continue influencing religious art as long as human beings create beauty in service of divine purposes. Your breathing becomes slower, deeper, more peaceful, as awareness gently separates from the concerns of individual existence, while remaining connected to the cultural and spiritual achievements that give human life its deepest significance. The stone dancers you carved at Angkor Wat continue their eternal performance, while your teaching ensures that such artistic excellence will remain possible for future generations. In these final moments of consciousness, you feel the same creative inspiration that guided decades of artistic work, the recognition that individual talent serves purposes greater than personal achievement, that beauty created in service of spiritual understanding connects human effort to divine intention, and that excellence in chosen endeavors provides meaning that endures beyond any single lifetime. Your last breath carries the satisfaction of work completed according to the highest possible standards, leaving behind contributions to human cultural and spiritual heritage that will inspire and guide religious artists for centuries to come. The master stone carver's work is done, but the tradition continues, carried forward by students whose students will carry it to achievements not yet imagined. Rest now in the eternal dance of stone and spirit, knowing that your carved apsaras will continue their celestial movement as long as Angkor Wat endures, and that your teaching has ensured the continuation of artistic traditions that connect human creativity to divine inspiration across the generations of cultural development that lie ahead. Breathe deeply one final time, releasing individual consciousness while joining the permanent legacy of those whose artistic vision and spiritual dedication have enriched human understanding of beauty, meaning, and the eternal relationship between earthly craft and divine purpose. The daily routine of building Angkor Wat has ended, but its spiritual significance continues forever in stone, in tradition, and in the continuing human quest for artistic expression that serves the highest purposes of civilization. Sleep now in the peace that comes from a life devoted to meaningful work, knowing that the greatest architectural achievement in human history will preserve your contribution for as long as human beings continue to marvel at what devoted craftsmanship can accomplish in service of spiritual vision and cultural excellence. The master stone carver rests, but the eternal temple continues its sacred function, housing both divine presence and human aspiration in perfect architectural harmony that testifies to the highest possibilities of human creative achievement.